Hey everyone, AlexJWilson.com here, and welcome to 2019. I know you guys have been like, Alex, we want more videos. Well, we listened to you, and we're going to be coming with more. A lot more. We're going to be giving you guys a video a week, and with that comes a new format. So I want to introduce Kyle. He's our Director of Operations at RE/MAX Wealth Builders Real Estate, our brokerage, and we're going to do this more of in a conversational style, so we're able to get this information to you in a way that is easy for you to digest and easy for us to deliver to you. So let's take it away. Kyle, what are we talking about today?
Great, Alex. Let's kick it off. So in 2018, condo prices in downtown Toronto were up about 10%. Mm-hmm. So I keep hearing there's going to be a recession in the Canadian economy, doom and gloom. Mm-hmm. What do you think is going to happen downtown Toronto for prices 2019?
So the predictions for 2019, and I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but prices are going to continue to go up. So my three predictions are, number one, prices are going to go up 5% in the downtown core for Toronto condos. Two, we're going to see rental rates continue to rise, a 5 to 10% jump in downtown condos. And three, the vacancy rate in condos is going to go down even further, from down below 0.7%, if you can believe that. Number one, the stress test. We talked about the stress test in 2018, and it had a big impact on the Toronto real estate market, and will continue to have an impact on the Toronto real estate market in 2019. And why it's so significant in the Toronto condo market is that the stress test pushes people down. And what I mean it pushes people down is the stress test job is to really, it erodes people's affordability because they can take out only a smaller mortgage. So if my mortgage is smaller, that means I can afford less. So that means the higher priced properties out there, your detached, your semi-detached, your row townhouse, individuals can't afford that. So they're pushed down the hill, and that's where the condos are. The condos are the most affordable option out there. So because more people are being forced to live in condos and live in condos longer, we've seen increased demand in condos, and we've seen condo values pushed up. The stress test is going to continue to exist in 2019, which is going to continue to put more demand, put more pressure for people moving to the condo market, which will continue to push prices up. A second part of that is we are in an election year. So this is a new part of the stress test and how government regulations are going to impact real estate. We've heard in the media that the government does plan to do something to make it easier for first-time buyers to buy properties. And because of this, I don't know what they're going to do, but they're going to do something. And because it's an election year, they will do something because really it's their way to increase their profile to help them get reelected. So when they act, that is going to act as a stimulus to the market. So that will put more demand for the first-time buyer because now whatever is being done, they'll be able to afford more. So with a stimulus to the market, we'll push more buyers, we'll allow more affordability for those individuals or make it easier for those individuals to buy, which the entry-level product, that is what's going to be being pushed up because it's the first-time buyer they're looking at stimulating. So that'll put more pressure on the bottom of the market, the entry-level product, and it'll push those values up further. Now, how the stress test impacts the rental market is that there are individuals that are priced out of the real estate market. And because they're priced out because of the stress test, they rent properties. And that puts more pressure on our rental market, and that leads to increased prices and decreased vacancy. So our vacancy rate goes down. So here's supply and demand model, and that puts more pressure on prices, and prices continue to go up. people are going to continue to move to Toronto. We've talked about this before. If you're immigrating, if you're migrating, you're going to end up in the greater Toronto area. Because this is where the jobs are. It's not just condo towers that you're seeing being built in Toronto, it's office towers as well. And that's a great segue into the next segment, which is infrastructure and how that impacts the prices and why we're going to see things go up. So number 2, infrastructure. Infrastructure and why or how that impacts prices is because people want to get from point A to point B. Point A being their home, point B being work. As our population continues to grow, it puts more people on the streets, which makes it more difficult to get from point A to point B. So how do I get from point A to point B? I could drive. Well, we know commuting is horrible in the city driving-wise. I can take transit, which is great when it's working or it's not delayed. Or number 3, I can take the most reliable form of transportation, which are my 2 legs. And what we're seeing is we're not only seeing just new condos being built downtown Toronto, but we're seeing new office towers being built downtown Toronto. A significant number of office towers being built in downtown Toronto. One of the examples I see is this new CIBC towers, which are going up beside Union Station, which CIBC is consolidating all their offices, and they're going to move 15,000 jobs into the downtown core. The reason companies are moving offices to the downtown core is they want to make it easy for people to get from point A to point B. And if they can be centralized in an area where people can get to work, they're going to attract the best talent. It's all about talent acquisition for these companies. So we see the companies moving back into the core, and not only do we see companies moving back into the core, we see outside technology companies investing in the core of Toronto and bringing their jobs into Toronto. We've seen Microsoft make a big investment in Toronto. We've seen Uber make a $200 million investment in Toronto. Amazon, even though we didn't win the H2 sweepstakes, is making a significant investment in the Toronto area because we have a huge tech sector. We are the 4th largest tech sector in North America, and we are outpacing growth-wise all the other sectors. Ours is the fastest growing tech sector. So these tech jobs are 6-figure jobs, high-paying jobs, and these individuals are all moving to the downtown core of the city because it's easy to get from point A to point B when I can walk to work. Going back in infrastructure-wise, we talked about the subways and being on public transit, which is okay when it's working properly, but there's no relief coming in the near future. Said it many times, if I put a shovel in the ground tomorrow, excuse me, that project won't be ready for 10 years. So we have no relief coming in regards to new transit-wise moving people from point A to point B, and we're continuing to have population growth, immigration, migration, people moving to Toronto. That is not going to stop, putting more pressure on our downtown condo prices and our rental prices, leading to further growth. Things are going to get worse. Things will get worse before they get better. All right, number 3, replacement cost. So I heard this term used this week, and I think it's a great way to describe the third area of why prices are going to continue to go up. And we'll dig a little deeper here. And again, everything I'm talking about today, I've talked about all in 2018, but it's just re-emphasizing why prices are going to continue to rise. So the replacement cost. Well, number 1, construction costs are up 15%. So it's going to cost me 15% more to build a building than it did the year before. So this puts more pressure on my bottom line. Number 2, land prices continue to increase. It's the classic line. They're not building any more of it. Land is a finite resource. I cannot create more land. Once a project's done, that land has been used up. So land prices continue to go up. That is another line item on my bottom line. Number 3, development charges. You may not be familiar with what these are, but development charges is basically a tax that the city imposes on builders to allow them to build a unit. And when I mean a unit, I build one unit, that's my development charge. My next unit, there's a development charge. So there's a fixed charge for every unit I build in a building. And that gets added to the bottom line when I'm pricing out a project. Those costs, those development charges have doubled and continue to go up. So we've talked about 3 things. We've talked about construction costs have gone up 15%, land prices continue to go up because we're dealing with a finite resource, and development charges, the tax that the city charges builders, those continue to go up as well. So I've had increases in those 3 line items. And then number 4, my approval process. And we talked about it before. The previous government removed the OMB, which is the Ontario Municipal Board. So if I'm a builder and I'm building a piece of real estate, I do a pro forma. What a pro forma is I calculate what it's going to cost me to build the building. So there's my hard cost to build a building. Then I see, well, how much gross square footage am I going to be able to build? So just calculating, I have 500 units in the building. Those 500 times the square footage of all those units, that gives me my gross square footage of the building to build. So I have that. And what do I need to do to take that gross square footage, multiply it by the price per square foot, and that total number needs to be higher than my fixed costs? Well, if my fixed costs have been going up, and I have my gross square footage area, then that has to go up as well. So I have to charge more for that gross square footage area. So at my end of my day, my price per square foot that I charge the consumer. Now, this is where the approval process twofold comes into play. Number 1, because they removed the OMB board, my pro forma on the amount of gross square footage that I thought I was going to get, well, I may not even get that anymore, because before I had the ability to appeal to the province to get the square footage I needed, to get that gross square footage area. I can't do that anymore. That ability has been removed. I have to deal directly with the city. And the city may not agree, or typically does not agree, with the density that I want to put in for a project-wise. So if I thought I was getting a gross square footage area of 4 million gross square feet because I was able to build a 40-story tower, and the city says I can only build a 30-story tower, so I'm only getting 3 million gross square footage in the project-wise. Well, now my costs haven't changed. My costs are still the same, but now I have less square footage in the building to sell. So in order to make my numbers work, that means my last number, my final, my price per square foot, that number has to go up. On top of this, the actual length of the approval time for me to buy the piece of land, get it approved by the city, get my site plan, everything approved, has increased significantly. What could have been done before in 9 to 12 months is now taking 3 to 4 years on a good site. And what I mean by a good site, I'm talking about a site that doesn't have a rental replacement on it, or doesn't have to be rezoned. So I'm looking at my approval times, my time to get a site to market, have increased by 300 to 400%. And that time costs me money as well, because there's time I have to hold the property, interest expense, the cost at the office to get that process approved. So significant expenses on that end, so that eats into my bottom line as well. So now I'm seeing, again, I have my fixed costs, which have now increased even more because my approval time takes 300 to 400% longer, 3 times longer. my density, I don't get the density I want anymore, so that's decreased. So I can't sell as many units. And then, well, that number right there, what I have to multiply to cover my costs, well, that's my only option. I have to increase that number. And that leads to a higher price point. And that final number, that's my replacement cost. That's how much it'll cost me to replace that 1 square concrete box in the sky. And that number is much higher than the current resale market value. So I know all my new inventory that's coming in the market is being sold at a significantly higher price point because that's the new replacement cost. That is the cost that it takes a builder to build that new square box in the sky. So what that means is that builders are going to hold back projects, so there's not going to be as many launches because if they can't get the price point, they're just going to hold on to the land. It's taking longer for these projects to come to fruition, so that means I have less supply coming onto the market. And when that supply does come on the market, the replacement cost is higher, so that will push up the resale market as well because people aren't going to sell for less than the replacement cost of those units, which is going to have a long-term impact on higher prices into the future. So overall wise, covering all those items, prices are going to keep on going up, which to some is a good thing, to some it's a bad thing. To me, it's a good thing. Kyle, is it a good thing for you?
Definitely.
Good. And if you're investing in real estate, it's a good thing for you. Well, and if you haven't invested in real estate, it's okay because we still see the fundamentals of price growth in Toronto continuing to go up. Hey Kyle, thanks so much for joining the show today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Alex. It's been a pleasure to be here.
No problem. Looking forward to having you on our future episodes. There will be more episodes coming up each week. If you have anything you want us to talk about, send me an email at contact@alexjwilson.com or call me at 416-996-5181. Or if you are interested in investing in real estate, we'll book a consultation. We can talk to you more on what opportunities could be out there in the market. Looking forward to continue to building your financial freedom and growing your generational wealth. Okay, guys. Talk soon. See you next week. Bye-bye.